Hello YouTubers, my name is Frederick Lopez and you are on a new episode of PCDC. I decided to do a special episode today in which I go over my top 15 favorite episodes of Batman the Animated Series. Now this includes the original animated series that aired on Fox, as well as the new adventures of Batman on Kids WB. I'm going to go over my personal top 15 episodes of Batman the Animated Series. Now this is going to be in no particular order. And this list is kind of hard because really I love the whole show. With some of the weaker episodes being in the last season with the Adventures of Batman and Robin and then the New Adventures. But other than that, it's one of those series that is just well made. Emmy Award winning. This is one of the best cartoons, one of the best animated series ever made. And in fact, one of the best interpretations of Batman in any media. And Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, Alan Burnett, all the guys behind the animated series have done a fantastic job. Yes, starting with number 15 on the list is an episode from the Adventures of Batman and Robin in Volume 3 called Trial. I really love this episode. Pretty much this lawyer is really wanting to get Batman. This district attorney is trying to bust Batman. She doesn't agree with him. She doesn't like that Gordon's working with Batman behind the scenes. She thinks that Batman is responsible for most of the villains being out in Gotham City and just wreaking havoc. And in a way she's right until she gets in the crosshairs. All the inmates in Arkham kidnap Batman and she must defend Batman or else it's both their lives. So there's this whole trial where each of the villains say why Batman's responsible for creating them. And it's such a great episode, not only because you have this district attorney who's after Batman, doesn't agree with him, she now must defend him and also give reasons why he needs to be around. Second of all, you also have the villains after him in a really cool way, almost like a pre-Arkham Asylum before the Batman Arkham Asylum video game. And I really love the dynamic between the villains and the hero here. You get a lot of great moments. Very few episodes get to have all the villains of the show in Batman. And this was originally going to be the finale. And in a way, people were wondering, yeah, maybe it shouldn't have been a 2-hour episode or an hour episode. And yeah, it should have been a feature-length episode. It's great. But for the 30 minutes, for the 21 minutes we get, it's a well-written episode, much like any other episode in the series. And it's very well done. One of my favorites. Number 14 is from the New Adventures called Joker's Millions. Now this one, there's a mobster that the Joker did not like. He hated him. Well, he died and left all of his fortune to Joker. And you get to see Joker pretty much just inherit millions of dollars. And it's just so great seeing him and Harley Quinn fight and how the Joker acts when he tries to legitimize his businesses when he's rich. He's the richest man in Gotham. But also it's very funny because there's a punchline of him having fake money. He's in debt. He needs real money. It turns out that it was basically illegitimate money. It was counterfeit. So he's in debt, and it's like the biggest joke pulled on the Joker. And you get some great humor there between him and Harley. He's looking for a new Harley Quinn. And you get this guy in a Harley Quinn suit, and then this other woman, she's like, yeah, thank you, Mr. G, instead of Mr. J. And Mark Hamill's Joker's just like, geez, maybe I should have gone with the guy. A lot of funny adult humor hidden within this episode, but it's a very Joker-centric episode, and one of the most well-written and just funny out of the bunch. Number 13 on the list is from the Adventures of Batman and Robin called House and Garden. This is one of my favorite Poison Ivy episodes. I had it on a VHS tape on the Poison Ivy VHS tape, but pretty much Poison Ivy, Pamela Isley, is married. She has a legitimate life. She's no longer committing crimes. She's not Poison Ivy, but something is wrong. And she's married to a former professor of Dick Grayson, Robin, in the story. And it's interesting because Robin said that that man had daughters. He never had sons. And you find out that her whole family is manufactured from one of her plant toxins, that they're like these plant green liquid type of people. And it is just scary. She's basically growing these people for her family and army, and it's really kind of creepy in a way, and yet very sad because you really get to see Poison Ivy wanting to live a normal life, but unable to. And it's a very deep episode in that regard, and again, Batman the Animated Series has some fun moments, but really there's a lot of very deep character-driven episodes in the series that make it very mature and much beyond its years, and more for its age demographic, where both children and adults can enjoy it, but have different things to take from it. Number 12 on the list is from Batman the Animated Series called Almost Got Him. I love this. It's pretty much the villains. Penguin, Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, Joker. They're all playing poker. Two-Face. They're all playing poker with one another, and they're talking about this time that they almost killed or captured Batman, and they're going through all their stories, and it's just such a brilliant episode. Again, a great centerpiece for the villains to just be showcased. And ultimately you discover that Batman is in disguise and is playing among them, and again it's a tale of Almost Got Him, and it's just a brilliant twist. One of the most well-written episodes, and I just love the episodes that go through multiple points of view and just different stories, where it's a filler episode in a way, but yet done in such a way where it's a satisfying episode. You don't feel like you waste your time. It's a brilliantly written episode. Number 10 on my list is from Batman the Animated Series. It's called The Laughing Fish. I love this. One of the pivotal Joker episodes of the series. He pretty much creates this toxin that basically... It's like in fish food. It causes people to like laugh. It's like Batman 89 really. Causes people to laugh, and it's a Joker toxin within fish food. So there's like this huge pandemic, but it's a pretty Joker-centric episode. Him and Harley Quinn have a lot of funny humor with the commercials, robbing stuff, and ultimately the battle between Batman and Joker at the aquarium is very well done in the ending too. There's a lot of times where Joker just basically you think he's dead and he may survive. There's always like these endings where it's like, what happened to the Joker? Did he really die or did he survive? And as we know, he always has 9 lives, if not more. And it's a very, very Batman Joker-centric episode that's just among one of my favorites. Number 9 on my list is from The New Adventures of Batman, but it's an adaptation of Paul Dini's Mad Love story from the comics. I love this. Harley Quinn gets kicked off. The Joker's just losing it. He's not as witty and just ahead of the jokes as he used to be, so he kicks Harley Quinn out. He's unable to capture Batman. There's a lot of adult humor here with like, don't you want to ride your Harley? And just Joker being aggravated, but again, it shows their abusive relationship. And we ultimately get an origin story of how Harleen Quinzel became Harley Quinn. Well done episode, among one of my favorites, and Harley Quinn actually captured the Batman, and Joker didn't like that, so it really shows you that dichotomy between Harley and Joker and their relationship, and I wish it was made into a feature-length film. But you could definitely tell films like Suicide Squad or the Arkham Origins video game took a lot from that story. Number 8 on my list is a Batman the Animated Series episode called I Am the Night. Pretty much it involves this mob guy named Jazzman, who basically gets away and shoots Commissioner Gordon. Batman failed to be there on time. He was visiting Crime Island, where you get to be introduced to Dr. Tompkins, and she was aware that Bruce was Batman and has known that he was Batman for quite a while. She knows what made the man become who he is today, and it's just a great episode because ultimately it's the only episode where we see Batman feel like a failure. He doesn't believe he's doing any good. And there's a little subplot about this goon in the wrong business, like this kind of like thief. And he basically corrects his way because of Batman at the end. And it's ultimately a tale of redemption, and then showing that, hey, no matter how tough the fight gets, you are making a difference. And whether it's a big way or a very small way. We get some of Barbara Gordon here, Harvey Bullock, but ultimately it's one of those episodes that really gets down deep into the character of Batman and why he keeps going, what drives him, even in moments of darkness where he wants to give up. He is the Night, and it shows why he continues on as the Batman. Such a well-written episode and very emotional as well. Number 8 on my episode is from The New Adventures of Batman. I love the episode called Old Wounds. Tim Drake, the new Robin, is fighting some goons, and Nightwing comes along. Dick Grayson, the former Robin, helps him, and he wonders what happened between them. So in this episode, we have Nightwing telling Tim Drake's Robin exactly what happened after the adventures of Batman and Robin before the New Adventures. So we get a piece of the story that's been missing in between the seasons. And it's such a fantastic story of how like Robin graduates, how far Batman has gone, but ultimately what drifted Robin away from Batman, and their relationship, and then regards to Batgirl's Barbara Gordon, how she started working with Batman. Such a great episode. If you're a fan of the original animated series, you would definitely like that episode. It blends the original animated series with the new adventures into one episode. And again, Mark Hamill's featured as the Joker. Such a great villain, but you really get to see their breaking point. Not only is Batman getting past his morality, but also Robin just having enough of working with Batman, Bruce Wayne, enough of that life. Him going solo as Nightwing. And we get to see that breaking point of what ultimately made them separate from one another in that dynamic duo relationship. And it is just a fantastic episode. And if you're a fan of Robin or Nightwing, you definitely want to check out that episode as well. Another favorite of mine is from Batman the Animated Series called Day of the Samurai. It involves Bruce Wayne going to his former dojo into Japan. There, Kidotai captures the daughter of Bruce Wayne's former master, and he's looking for this manuscript that pretty much teaches you how to do this deft touch. Kill somebody with a couple of moves. That's a secret for many years, and it's a great episode. You get a whole backstory of Bruce Wayne's training in Japan when he was gone from Gotham, and a peer of his, Kidotai, was another student, kind of a rival of Bruce Wayne. And this is a continuation of the episode Night of the Ninja. This is the Day of the Samurai, and ultimately shows Bruce Wayne having honor and Kidotai not having any honor, which is why he's a ninja and Bruce Wayne's a samurai. Great fight. The stakes are high. Kidotai kidnaps Alfred, and you have this climatic fight on a volcano. Not many episodes show you Bruce Wayne without a mask in the Batman costume fighting another individual, and it is a very well done, action-packed episode. Number 6 on my list is an episode from Batman the Animated Series Season 1 called Dreams in Darkness. It opens up with Bruce Wayne, Batman, waking up in Arkham Asylum. He's in his mask. He's Batman. And people think that he's crazy. He's lost his mind, and we don't know how he got there. So it's a very crazy episode that plays with your mind and expectations of what came in the series before. You kind of question, is the whole series real, or is this guy psychotic? And a lot of Batman Begins was taken from this episode. It's kind of like a film noir where Bruce Wayne, Batman, has this story of what happened. And he was investigating Scarecrow, and he got infected by the Scarecrow's toxin. He decided not to have an antidote yet, and because of that, he began to lose his mind. Well, nobody believes him that Scarecrow is the underground at Arkham, about to poison the water in Gotham City. Nobody believes him, so we have Bruce Wayne struggling to make people believe his story, but also him struggling to get out and escape custody of Arkham Asylum and go confront the Scarecrow. Such a great Scarecrow episode, among one of my favorites of Batman the Animated Series. Number 5 on my list is another crazy episode called Perchance to Dream. Bruce Wayne wakes up. Not only are his parents around, but he's also engaged to Selina Kyle. To make things even more crazier, Batman exists in the universe, but he's not Batman. So he begins to question his whole reality, and it's a cool thing. It's almost like Inception before Inception. Ultimately, he begins to read books, and the text is backwards because of the way you process things on the hemisphere of the brains. So he figures out that it's a fake world and begins to confront this Batman. Ultimately, it turns into a Mad Hatter episode, among one of my favorites, and it's just a mind effort all around. It really makes you question the whole reality of the show, and it's a nice Twilight Zone alternate reality type of episode. Again, that's kind of like a filler episode, but not really a filler episode. Number 4 on my list is Beware of the Grey Ghost from Batman the Animated Series. Such a great episode that also stars Adam West. The Grey Ghost was a character in a TV show that Bruce Wayne looked up to, and that really kind of gave the basis for this Batman to exist. Anyway, these toy cars are going around blowing up buildings, and the motive of it is very similar to the character of the Mad Bomber in the series The Grey Ghost. So he basically contacts the actor, who's played by Adam West, watches the episode, and the both of them work together to discover what the Mad Bomber's moves will be next based on the episode. It is fantastic. It's almost like a passing of the torch having Adam West, who's formerly Batman on TV, with Kevin Conroy, who's Batman now, and again, Batman's hero in the show. It's just such a great episode seeing those two legends come together, and it's just like a great passing of the torch that's very fun, almost from one generation to the next, and influences. And it's a great episode. I love it. You see the whole motive of what the Mad Bomber's like, and him basing everything off of the TV episode. It's a very good procedural mystery of the show, and has so many great moments in action that make it feel like a feature film in 20 minutes. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend Beware of the Grey Ghost. Number 3 on my list is an episode that's a tragedy, really, among one of my favorites. It's a two-parter, but I'm going to count as one. It is Two-Face from Season 1. You get to see Harvey Dent's origins, him and Bruce's friends before he's Two-Face. And I love it because in this, you add a psychological element to it. You find out that Harvey was in trouble before he had a physical injury. There is a mental one there of a split personality disorder, dissociative identity disorder, where there's this big bad horror of Two-Face, Harvey Two-Face, emerging within Harvey Dent. And I love it. You're introduced to the gangster of Rupert Thorne, and they have that whole story of him failing to save Harvey, much like in Dark Knight or the comics with Sal Maroni. And he just loses everything. His wife at first does not want to be around him. And it's just so sad seeing a great man fall and just lose everything because of his appearance. And he tries to make that extra step of redemption, but Rupert Thorne gets in the way, and ultimately Harvey, Two-Faced, overcomes Harvey Dent and takes him over completely, and it is just a tragedy among one of the most brilliant episodes of Batman animated series that is my favorite. And I really haven't seen this version of Two-Face on film. We've come close to it, but I really haven't seen the definitive version of Two-Face, and this is my favorite version of Two-Face along with the comic books. Such a well-written episode and a great representation of Harvey Dent and ultimately the villain, Two-Face. Number 2 on the list is another tragic episode written by Paul Dini from Batman the Animated Series called Heart of Ice. That is pretty much the origin story of Mr. Freeze. They took a very two-dimensional character and added a lot more depth, complexity, emotion, and all-around a motive to why he is a villain. He's relatable. Somebody being so cold is relatable. It's just crazy. Before the animated series, he had an accent in the Adam West show, much like Arnold Schwarzenegger's. This time they got Victor Freeze the man, showed you what made him to Mr. Freeze, and it's a tragedy again. But I love it because so much of Mr. Freeze is now embedded into video games, comics, and other shows from this episode. Cold Heart from Arkham Origins, straight from Heart of Ice, and such a great story that added a lot more needed depth and made Mr. Freeze go from a two-dimensional character to a three-dimensional character, and again showcases the brilliant writing of Paul Dini. If you haven't seen an episode of Batman the Animated Series, I would highly recommend Heart of Ice. Now for my number 1. My personal favorite episode is from the New Adventures of Batman called Over the Edge. It starts with Batgirl, Robin, and Batman fighting Scarecrow, and Scarecrow knocks Barbara Gordon off. Batgirl off the roof. She falls, and you see her fall to her death right in front of Commissioner Gordon, and he undoes the mask and is horrified that it's Barbara Gordon under the mask. And you discover that he'd suspected Batman was Bruce Wayne, and he did what he should have done a long time ago. He hunts down Bruce Wayne, Tim Drake, everybody related to Bruce Wayne, Nightwing, Alfred. He hunts them down, attacks Wayne Manor. It is a manhunt. Stakes are high. It's like Mask of the Phantasm in one episode. They get Nightwing and all of his allies one by one until it's Batman confronting Gordon on the GCPD roof, and then Bane interferes. There's this huge fight between Bane hunting down the Batman, and who breaks a deal he had with Gordon, and it ends with Gordon and Batman falling off the roof to their death. And we hear screams, and all of a sudden we see Barbara Gordon wake up from a nightmare, and it turns out the whole episode was a fear hallucination caused by the Scarecrow toxin. Such a mind-deffer of an episode that's very Twilight Zone alternate reality-like, that is probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite, of Batman the Animated Series. So well done, and especially for the New Adventures. They didn't really have that many great episodes like the earlier seasons, but that one was a standout and among one of my favorites. Anyway, that's just my quick overview of my personal top 15 Batman the Animated Series episodes. I'm sorry if I rushed at the end. I had to re-record this because the camera went out and I didn't know. But honorable mentions. The Demon's Quest is a great episode. Growing Pains with Clayface and Tim Drake is great. There's so many episodes. Robin's Reckoning. Silicon Soul. Just so many of them that are just fantastic. It's hard to choose, but those are my personal favorite top 15 episodes. If there's some that I did not mention in the list, let me know some of your favorite episodes. If you have any of Batman the Animated Series, please feel free to let me know. And yeah, let me know some of your thoughts on the episodes I mentioned. It's just a quick video I did, and yeah, if you haven't yet, check out Batman the Animated Series. It's on DVD, and it's also on Amazon Video if you're a Prime member, so go check out Batman. It's awesome.